In this video, I am going to discuss about memory and its hierarchy. Memory is a hardware unit that is used to store data and instruction, or you may say a computer program. Memory can be categorized as volatile and non-volatile, where volatile loses its contents in case the hardware device loses power, and non-volatile keeps its content even if the power gets off. There exist various memory units like registers, L1, L2 cache, RAM, hard disk, or you may say SSD. These all memory units are having their own characteristics with respect to storage capacity, access speed, and the cost. To build a computer system, we need all these memory units. We cannot have a machine with one type of memory hardware, that is, processor with either 5 or 10 gigabytes of register or cache, or the processor having 1 or 2 terabytes of RAM or hard disk only. The prime concern is performance versus cost. Due to the specific electronic circuitry, the cache or registers are fast but too costly, whereas hard disk is super slow and cheap. Hence, to maintain a proper balance for cost and speed, one can think of building a system which is high in performance and affordable with respect to cost. For this, we take all type of memory units to build a computer system. In computer system architecture, memory hierarchy corresponds to the organization of various memory units, and it's a depiction on a pyramid-shaped structure such that the memory access time is minimal when traversed from bottom to top. To understand the trade-off between performance and cost, let us consider a scenario. Although it is very much dependent on the CPU type, that is, its make and model, an example has been considered here, taking 1 GHz processor with a cycle time of 1 nanosecond. Also, considering no instruction level parallelism, a simple instruction normally takes 4 or more CPU cycles to execute. Hence, for the scenario here, we can say that the CPU will take 4 nanoseconds for one instruction. When a processor makes a request for accessing the required data from the registers, the memory access time varies between 0.1 to 0.3 nanoseconds. For L1 cache, it is 0.5 to 5 nanosecond. For L2, it is 7 to 10 nanosecond. For RAM, it is 60 to 100 nanosecond, and for the hard disk, it varies between 5 to 10 milliseconds. Taking the lower bound for all the memory units, the access time for hard disk storage be 5 millisecond, and converting it to nanosecond, it will result into 5 into 10 raised to power 6 nanoseconds, that is 5 million nanoseconds. And this is to access just one instruction from the hard disk. In our example scenario here, CPU cycles required to execute one instruction are 4. The time taken by one CPU cycle is 1 nanosecond. Therefore, we can say that time taken to execute one instruction be 4 nanoseconds. Here, the number or the count of instructions that can be executed in 5 million nanoseconds are 5 into 10 raised to power 6 divided by 4, that is 1.25 million. The time equivalent to the processing time of 1.25 million instructions will get consumed here to fetch one instruction from the hard disk, and hence the CPU has to sit idle for this much time as a wait, because the processor will process an instruction using 4 CPU cycles and look for another instruction to process. But here, CPU needs to wait for next instruction to come, as its fetching will take the time equivalent to the processing time of 1.25 million instructions. This idle, or you may say useless sitting, will degrade the performance of the CPU. The comparison among the memory units can be visualized on the basis of CPU cycles, which get consumed by the processor for accessing the data. This be 1 for the register, 1 to 7 for cache, 60 for RAM, and 5 million for the hard disk, considering 1 nanosecond for one CPU cycle. The memory units like hard disk, RAM, cache, register can also be compared on the basis of count of instructions that could be processed in the wait time for which the processor sits idle. So, in case of data access from the registers, the access speed is very fast and processor will wait just for the time equivalent to processing 0.025 instructions. For L1 and L2 cache, time consumed is equivalent to processing 0.125 and 1.75 instructions respectively. For RAM, time equivalent to process 15 instructions will get consumed as waiting time. And for the hard disk, the time equivalent to process 1.25 million instructions will get consumed. Here, data access from either registers, cache or RAM is comparatively faster as compared to the data access from hard disk. But cost factor will make it infeasible to build a machine having either register, cache or RAM only. Let's see the reason. If we see the cost of various memory units at Google, then in the year 2020, it is showing like rupees 800 for 1 GB RAM, rupees 5000 for 1 terabyte of hard disk, rupees 20,000 for i5 processor with 12 MB of cache. If we try to convert the cost per gigabytes, then we can see that it is rupees 16.6 lakhs for the processor with 1 GB of cache, rupees 800 for 1 GB of RAM and rupees 5 for 1 GB of hard disk. If we build a system with 1 GB of cache only, then its price will be too much, whereas for the system with 1 GB or even 1 terabyte of hard disk, the price is low, but the performance will also be at its lowest. Hence, it doesn't make any sense to build a machine which is extremely sluggish or slow. Therefore, to maintain a good trade-off between performance and the cost, the manufacturers of the machine use a variety of memory units that can satisfy the specific requirement of a computer application.